Redditors who have tried to hide on your cruise when it ended so that you could stay on the ship for the next round. How did that go? There was an episode of This American Life, I think, where a woman did this. But back in the day, like the 60s or early 70s, there were seating charts or something in the dining room so she couldn't sneak in to eat. And things that she assumed would be open most of night, like bars, weren't. She lived on a lot of bar garnishes and had to pretend she was drunk who kept passing out in the lounge. It was a lot less fun than she thought it would be. With very little sleep and cleaning herself up in public bathrooms while worrying she would be caught doing so at any time. She had to sneak back into her own country because she hadn't brought a passport. I read that link, and while it was interesting, there were also a few occasions where she came close to being possibly assaulted. Because one of her methods for fitting in involved being flirty with the single men on board, and more than once she had to extract herself from an overly touchy dude. And once she also woke up to a crew member with his hands down her top. Which makes you think, what happens to you if you bump into a real predator? You could go missing and no one would know where you are because you weren't really there. I worked for Carnival. We will find you. We know you're in the ship. And we all want you to get off so I can take a short nap before I have to do it all over again in a few hours. Amen to this. I worked for a small cruise ship company, less than 100 packs, and I would die a little inside every time people weren't packed the morning of departure and would slow everything down. Did they somehow forget that they needed to get off the boat that morning? Do those big ships do same-day turns, i.e. debarkation and embarkation the same day? My company did that, and apparently it's not the norm. At least in small cruise ships. Most of the other companies seem to have at least 24 hours between trips. Yes. We absolutely do. A lot of times, people are still debarking whenever early birds in VIP are embarking. Same-day turnaround is the norm in the large liner industry. I know you're planning something up. I don't know if this counts, but on the last night of a cruise my friends and I got really drunk. Well, I don't know how the hell, but I ended up somewhere passengers shouldn't be, in a goddamn supply closet, I believe. The ship had docked and there was a 2-hour search for me. Still drunk, I couldn't find a way to get out of the room where the supply closet was, but the door was locked. The crew thought I was trying to sneak another ride, but after reviewing the cameras they clearly could tell I was nowhere near sober. So they let me go on my way with a good laugh. To this day I still don't remember making my way down there. That's kind of adorable somehow. I can imagine them all bring up the security footage like, what a jerk, we'll see how sneakily he planned this. Oh. Well. Oh wow. He's very drunk and very confused, isn't he? Edit. Autocorrect. Basically, they were planning on reporting me and all that, but the captain let it slide. Just very thankful they caught it on camera. Also slightly embarrassing, LMAO. Not me, but a couple decided to hide to try get another week out of their holiday. This was while we were halfway through our holiday. So we heard it all. Dozens of announcements calling for them or anyone who's seen them were made throughout the day. Their rooms were searched and everything they owned in that room was seized apparently. The ship left port late by about 90 minutes. But they were eventually found and escorted off the ship when the crew decided to check the identity of every passenger on board. All of their stuff was left in their room. How did they think they would get away with it? If you hide long enough without being seen, you'll be free to go. Source: GTA. Wow, I can actually kinda answer that. Okay, so it was not a cruise but a ferry. Also, we didn't hide on purpose. It was the ferry from Souris, Prince Edouard Island to the Isles de la Madeleine, Quebec, Canada. A 12 hours ride. We embarked at 2 a.m. and found a very quiet spot to sleep. We slept through the landing and no one woke us up because no one actually saw us. When we woke up we saw the islands going away from us. Result: we spent 36 hours on that boat. Sorry for my bad English. You may enjoy a listen to the stowaway episode of the podcast Criminal. It's not someone who just didn't leave, but someone who plotted to go on a cruise without paying. It's a good listen. That was a good episode. I don't think it would work today though. And it sounded like she really didn't have a good time on the boat anyway. With no place to sleep and nothing but buffet snacks. Not to mention constantly being worried about being found out. Agreed. No way it would work today. Especially with security cameras. Her approach was smart. Hiding in the open. It is all electronic card swipe now. Everyone monitored all the time. All of the japs and scrapes of being a stowaway. One step ahead of the steward is in the past now. Sounds like it would be easier to just get a job there. That was the usual outcome when I got caught. Maybe this is how they hire new crew. Like how all the lost children at Disneyland end up working in It's a Small World. Used to be in the USCG. We had this happen a few times in Miami. They were all escorted off the ship. Typically the police handle the situation. But if a stowaway was discovered while still in the 3 to 12 mile range, we would render assistance once they were apprehended by the onboard law enforcement. The problem here is that you only know about the unsuccessful stowaways, not the ones that manage to pull it off. Also, is keel hauling still an acceptable punishment for stowing away? Cruise ships are rather large. I'm not sure it's possible to survive a keel hauling from one of them. But I like the cut of your jib. Edit. Since there seems to be a point of contention on the purpose of keel hauling. The process is described by the British in the archived Universal Dictionary of the Marine from 1780. As plunging the delinquent repeatedly under the ship's bottom on one side, and hoisting him up on the other, after having passed under the keel. But it also says that the culprit is allowed sufficient intervals to recover the sense of pain, of which indeed he is frequently deprived during the operation, indicating that the ultimate goal of the punishment isn't death. Source: primary source referenced. And very cool read. I don't know if this counts, but my dad got locked in a toilet cubicle on a ferry to France and it took several people to find him. The toilet was right out of the way and you couldn't hear him yelling even right outside in the corridor because the doors were so massive. I guess he could have gone immediately back to England. Could have become a ship toilet hermit. I want to form a band just so I can call it Ship Toilet Hermits. As someone about to embark on a cruise, this thread could hold vital information. Have fun on your cruise. I met my wife on one 7 years ago. And are you a penguin? Been doing this for a couple of years now. They slapped a name tag on me and now I work here. Hope they also took your bank account and post a monthly salary in there. Then in 20 to 30 years you walk out like it never even happened. I am a stand-up comic who works on cruise ships 3 to 4 months out of the year. Guests who take forever to leave suck. Employees of the ship can't leave until every last guest has exited the vessel. So if a guest is taking their time to leave or hiding, they are potentially keeping over 100 employees from going home. And many of the employees are on the ship for like 8 months. So every second counts when they just want to get off and start heading home. Get the beep off the boat. Redditors who have tried to hide on your cruise